congratulations on this award. True Stained Lies is a finalist in the inspirational and faith-based category this year. And congratulations to us.
Yes, congratulations to you too, because, you know, that has everything to do with how you read the book and how you narrated it. And you know, it really requires a good actor. I was thrilled because, you know, it is it's not just a Christian award, you know, it's a secular award. So I was really excited about that. Even though it's the inspirational category, I think that's just a big victory for us.
Tell me a little bit, because when it's in audio, the dialogue is so, it's just so crucial. Yours flows. Do you hear it? Do you talk it?
I read them out loud, and sometimes I have my computer read them to me, the words and the dialogue. And I've even made changes in the format of my books. I had what was called an afterword at the end of each book for years, and I changed that to note to the author because of the audios. Because when the narrator would get to the end of the book, then they would start into the afterword, and it seemed like it was an epilogue to the book, and it just was confusing. You know, suddenly it didn't fit with the book. So I made a change. We now call them a note from the author, so it's much more clear for the audio listeners. Yeah, I'm very conscious of the listener because I love listening to audios myself.
Right.
And I just know that, you know, the acting makes all the difference. And if I have someone who's not a professional or not good at that, then you can tell in the quality of the book, and I feel like it hurts the novel. So it's very important.
I think that, you know, a good reader can do a lot. It's a fine line to walk, because you need to channel the author's tone and intent and not interfere with that.
Exactly. You want to be invisible.
Yes, but you've got to, you still have to do it, you know.
Exactly.
So plus you're in somebody's ear, and it's a very intimate relationship.
And you know, I understand it because I tried reading one of my books once. And I got into the studio and I read I think I read 3 pages, and my voice went out. It literally went out, and I was coughing every time I spoke, and I finally had to give up. And I thought, this is a very, very hard gig.
It was a very easy job on True Stained Lies.
Thank you.
You know, it's such a, we talked about this, but it's such a page turner. Gosh, how do you do that? I mean, how do you maintain that suspense? Do you set up your structure pretty much ahead, or do you just sit down and write, or how do you do it?
Yeah, I do pretty much plot out everything in advance. I think part of it is that I have a very short attention span, so I need for something to be happening all the time and to keep me going. So, you know, I kind of structure my novels in such a way that people will read, like if they're reading late at night before bed, they think, I'll just get to the end of this chapter and then I'll go to bed. And then they get to the end of it and they think, oh, I need to read one more chapter. So that's kind of how I set it up and what I hope for. And I plot it out in advance, usually like 100 pages at a time. I'll have an overview of what's going to happen in the book, but I meticulously plot out about 100 pages ahead. And then I change things as I go, you know, new things occur to me. And
speaking of these characters, with Kathy, you know, she's involved in this world of blogging. Because, you know, we are faced with all this inundation of or intrusion into privacy and what we say and how fast maybe we push the send button before we really need to.
Oh, yes.
And you're a celebrity. You've written all these wonderful books. You are a public figure. How do you deal with that, this 24/7 sort of, invasion or spotlight on what you do?
Well, it's interesting these days. Writers have to do a lot of social networking and things that we didn't have to do years ago. And it's a way to engage with our readers and kind of stay in touch with them. But at the same time, if we get to send happy,
Yeah.
if we click send before we should, we can get ourselves into trouble. And I'm very interested in politics. I'm a real follower of politics. I watch the news a lot. I've been interested in it since I was like 12 years old.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a big hobby of mine. And I have to be really careful what I say regarding political things online because, not all my readers have the same viewpoint that I have.
Right.
And, sometimes I can't help myself, but I tend to kind of weigh it and think, okay, there's somebody's going to be mad that I said this. Is it worth it? But
Right.
I do try to remember that my first allegiance is to Christ. And if there are people who are reading my books who don't think like me at all, I don't want to block that and keep them from wanting to read me. And because I think they'll get a great message from my books. And my second is to promote my books and engage with my readers in a positive way. And I don't want to turn them off by constantly, hammering my politics.
I have to say that you are just so good because your people are real, Terri.
Oh,
No, I really mean it. No matter what as a listener, no matter what my beliefs are, you make me believe in the people and see their beliefs and what they're struggling with and come to my own conclusion.
right. Thank you for that
And
because
I hope you take that as a big compliment.
I do, because I really want people to think for themselves. I want them, even when like I've written a lot about suffering and why God allows certain things and
Right.
grief and things like that. And I really don't want to just give them a neat little package. I really want them to, even go back to the Bible if I've given them scripture or if I've talked about biblical principles. I want them to go back and say, is that really what that says?
Right.
Can I really trust her? Because they shouldn't trust me.
Right.
I'm just a writer. I tell stories. But, they should go back. I really want to raise questions in their minds and challenge them and then have them go and think about it, and figure it out. So I really do appreciate that.
And so then to give them that and then present some solutions within the context of Christianity, it's really wonderful. It's really
Well, and a lot of times those issues come from things in my own life. Sometimes I'm writing a novel and God is dealing with me in some area. And I'm a rebellious child. It's hard for him to teach me things. And I'll often incorporate those into my characters and those lessons that I'm learning because I figure if I'm going through this, then someone else is. And,
absolutely. Well, I feel that in the writing and in all of your writing. And it's really been a gift to us to be able to produce your stuff. It's just, it's good stuff.
thank you. I appreciate that so much.
So what are you working on now? You've got Distortion is the second one in the series.
Yes.
And that just came out or
It did. It came out in March and it's doing very well.
I saw, yeah.
Like it.
Wonderful.
And the third book I've finished already. It's called Twisted Innocence, and it features Holly.
That's a great
And
title.
she's actually my favorite character in
Oh,
the series.
God, I love her. She
I do
is
too. And I
just,
really want people to read this book. I want Holly to sort of represent all those people out there who feel that God is disgusted with them, that he's given up on them, that they've made every mistake they could make. And, I want them to find out through Holly's story that God is still, he's not disgusted with them, that he still has a plan for them. I think it's going to be a book that hopefully will resonate with readers, and it'll be out in March of next year.
Good. Well, I thank you for taking the time to spend with us to celebrate your book and your work, and we're just so pleased that it's getting the attention that it deserves, because it's a wonderful story. It's wonderful people, and everything I read, the review, your fans are just in love with the series. And
I really appreciate all the exposure you're giving it, because you really have been just an added bonus for us, just promoting the book, and I just really, really appreciate that.
You are welcome.